Good afternoon. Let me first thank Jerry Pollack for his kind invitation. I'm Quansheng Ren from Peking University. I will introduce our recent works about the effect of ferrite rotator on the exclusion zone of the water. We found interesting chiral symmetry breaking phenomena, and it may be due to quantum effect. I also find my work is highly related with the last work in the morning given by Jim Oshman. My main research area is neuromorphic computing. We implement neural models on electric circuits or photonic devices. So I deal with these mainstream models of neuroscience during my research. I don't believe they have already present all the stories about neurons. Some of my experience, such as synchronicity and parapsychology research in China, made me realize that the neural activity may be involve quantum effects or even unknown fields. Then I started trying to find my own answer in my spare time and pay attention to related topics such as quantum biology, high-penetrating emission, easy water, morphogenetic field, and unified theory. I also find these topics are related to certain aspects of Chinese philosophy of nature. Tomorrow there is also a talk given by Kubni discussing about this relationship. In January this year, I read Pollack's book, The Fourth Phase of Water, and was attracted and decided to repeat easy experiments. The name of easy stems from the fact that the water near hydrophilic surface can exclude suspensions for certain distance, which is typically several hundreds of micrometers for Nafion. The width of EZ approximates the size of cells, so it may relate to the origin of life. The potential of EZ is negative compared with the back water away from it. This indicates the formation of EZ is accompanied by separation of positive and negative charges. It is proposed that the older water has also a hexagonal crystalline structure like the ice. The energy of making EZ is provided by environmental electromagnetic radiation. The entire spectrum of visible light is effective in making EZ, while the most effective part is in the infrared region. And photoionization followed by proton ejection and photoexcitation of ring hexamers may play key roles in the assembly of the EZ phase. Other factors can also influence EZ, such as ultrasonic waves. In our study, we focus on the so-called high-penetrating emission studied in the former Soviet areas. Serge Kernbach has ever reviewed unconventional research in the former Soviet region. And for example, the spin torsion field. And Kernbach found that the effect of spin torsion field usually can be related to some Western theories such as Aharonov-Bohm effect and macroscopic quantum phenomena. So a founder of spin torsion research, Kozyrev, proposed that when entropy increases somewhere due to an irreversible process, the lost order is carried away by right-handed torsion waves. If the torsion is absorbed somewhere, the order then there will increase. In the reverse process, a site where entropy locally decreases, it produces left-handed torsion waves. At the site where these waves are absorbed, entropy will increase. In the case of water, EZ is a highly ordered phase, and the ordinary bulk of water can be seen as a state with high entropy. If the scenario of Kozyrev is reasonable, the interface between EZ and ordinary phases should be influenced by the two different polarities. The right-handed polarity is plausible to enlarge the EZ phase, while the left-handed polarity is plausible to suppress it. The generator we used belongs to the axion comfort series, which are invented by Alexander Shpilman in Kazakhstan. Its inertial version contains a rotating ring magnet, which consists of 4 permanent magnets. The magnetic field is in the toroidal direction, opposite the direction of ring's rotation. The ring should rotate with a velocity of several thousand revolutions per minute. Note that the magnetic field is closed within the ring. The comfort generator has been developed for more than 20 years. Now the generator doesn't contain permanent magnets, which are replaced by electric coils. This is the figure looking from the top. A micromotor, which is normally used to drive CD-ROM, is utilized to drive the ferrite ring. This vertical section shows the contents of the generator. The ferrite, labeled with number 2, is made of nickel manganese. It is rotated by the axis. Initially, the ferrite is not polarized. It can be polarized by other parts of the generator for a month of intensive work and gradually reach the maximum beam density. Silver cup 3 plays a role of a reflector. It is also the internal plate of a capacitor closed in a ring. Its outside 11 is the external plate of the capacitor. The voltage applied to the reflector is about 100 volts at 4.3 megahertz. Cylindrical coil in the map is 4 creates radial vector potential, and toroidal coils create axial vector potential. The superposition of these two kinds of vector potentials forms a magnetic vector potentials of a spiral form. So it causes axial polarizations of wave functions of the charged particles falling in its action area. The iron shield 7, toroidal coils 9, electric film 15, and tint copper plate 16 protect the field from the field of the electromagnetic field of the motor. Shpilman proposed that there is a kind of inversible unidentified elements in the environment, which is plausible to be related with qi, or dark matter. Generally, these elements are passive. The generator makes these elements active and necessary parameter and sets the necessary parameters. The ferrite ring can accumulate these elements. The electric field between the ring and the reflector makes these elements active. Then the rotation and the magnetic vector potential of the coils winds them into the necessary parameters by manipulating their wave functions according to the Aharonov-Bohm effect. The left and right-handed polarities are determined by the directions of rotation and coil current. In our experiments, Nafion is prepared with general procedures. To observe the easy phase, a chamber is used. Nafion is sticked to the left cliff of the chamber by Vaseline. Microspheres of 2 microns are used to show the extent of the EZ, which can be seen from microscope. Then the width of EZ is measured, which is utilized as the evaluation measure. First of all, we eliminate the influence of the electric field and the magnetic vector potential. That means we cutting off the electric inputs of the reflector and coils. So the only factor retained is the rotation of ferrite ring. We want to check whether there exist certain interactions originating from the rotating ferrite, and whether it could influence the EZ phase. For the control setting, EZ is developed and placed for 1 hour without irradiation. Every 15 minutes, we take a picture and measured the width of EZ. In the first experiment setting, EZ is developed for 15 minutes without irradiation. After then, the generator rotating anti-clockwise irradiate the EZ from right. Particularly, in the interval of 30 to 45 minutes, we utilize an inversely wired left generator. Because the current of the motor is inversed in this case, its rotation direction is as same as the right one. In the second experimental setting, the EZ is radiated from left. And in the third setting, the EZ is radiated from lateral. While in the fourth experimental setting, the location of the generator is as same as in the first settings, but head to tail inverted. The beam is assumed to be outgoing with certain direction and shapes. We want to check the directionality by this setting. These are results of 2 experimental groups. The upper 2 figures shows the results of the actual EZ width. The lower 2 figures shows the normalized growth rate. The growth of EZ depends on many factors. So the EZ width at 15 minutes is different in different settings are not exactly the same. Thus, we adopt the normalization measure. In the following 45 minutes, the first experimental setting shows a clear growth slope compared to other settings. This implies when the right polarized generator irradiates the EZ growth plane vertically from outside, it can facilitate the growth of EZ. Note that during the interval of 30 to 45 minutes, the slope is suppressed, which is due to the left polarized ferrite. Though it rotates in a right-handed way, the left polarization effect of the ferrite still plays a role. Just like the magnet, if the magnet is magnetized, it will retain this magnetization. In this case, the polarized ferrite will have all the details of the left generator. The motor will be heating after running for 15 minutes, so we change for another one every 15 minutes. To exclude the influence of the motor, we have also used a rotator without ferrite. No obvious result was observed. So something weird was going on. Since there was no electromagnetic sightings in the head of the generator in this case, the growth should not be attributed to electromagnetic irradiation. Moreover, a direction selectivity is clearly shown. The question is, what is it? Different scholars may give different explanations, such as torsion field, phaeton, axion field, DSS elements, dark matter, and even qi in Chinese philosophy of nature. Here we only call it unidentified elements. In the second experiment, we plus other components. In the first experimental setting, still rotating only, and only right polarized generator is utilized for 2 intervals of 15 minutes. In the second setting, we plus the voltage of the reflector, and in the third setting, we further plus the current of the coils. All the Ys of EZ in the 3 experimental settings are enlarged compared with the control setting. The electric field and the magnetic vector potentials seemed to have promoted the performance further. And in the third experiment, we compared the effects of the 2 different polarization. Right and left polarized generators are examined separately. The left polarized generator didn't show any potentiation of growth. In several experiments, it even showed a depression effect. When the left polarized generator is turned on, the Ys of EZ even decreases a little bit. While the left polarized generator is turned off, the EZ slowly recover. The right polarity plays a role like yang in Chinese philosophy of nature, while the left polarity behaves like yin. In both generators, iron rings within toroidal coils are magnetized clockwise. The vector of the magnetic vector potential is directed into the device. For the right polarized generator, the direction of magnetic field generated by the cylindrical coil is down, and the magnetic vector potential is clockwise. Toroidal and cylindrical coils together create a vector potential with spiral form of right twist. On the other hand, the ferrite rotates anti-clockwise. And for the left polarized generator, the direction of magnetic field generated by cylindrical coil is up, and the magnetic vector potential is anti-clockwise. The 2 kinds of vector potentials together create vector potentials with spiral form of left twist. In this case, ferrite rotates clockwise. These 2 different kinds of polarities have opposite effects, where Aharonov-Bohm effect seems to play an essential role. The wave functions and phases of the unidentified elements can be affected by the electric potential between reflector and the ferrite, as well as the spiral vector potential generated by the coils, despite the magnetic field is 0 outside the coils. This corresponds to the well-known non-local effects of quantum mechanics. Usually, the electron spin is only measured or manipulated through electromagnetic force acting on its associated magnetic moment. Recent years, spin Aharonov-Bohm effect has also been studied. Though there is no electromagnetic field acting on the electron spin can be controlled by magnetic vector potential. This can be realized in an Aharonov-Bohm ring made from quantum spin Hall insulator. This article is published in PRB. The author is Masijeko. So, however, in our case, the scenario is more complex. The electron in ferrite is rotating time and time, while the vector potential is in a spiral form with two possible directions, which induce phase correlations and spin-spin interactions between electrons. On the other hand, electrons spin indeed interact with molecular chiralities. For example, water splitting all involves an hydroxide intermediate. The unpaired electrons of the two hydroxide radicals can be aligned antipiral or piral, which corresponds to singlet or triplet respectively. In singlet case, formation of hydrogen peroxide is more favorable. The probability of electron transmission through chiral molecules depends on the electron spin. This kind of spin selectivity has been demonstrated in the transmission of electrons through duplex DNA. And yesterday, Luke introduced that there is chiral water superstructure in DNA. Maybe water superstructure also has spin selectivity effects. Interactions of two chiral molecules can be homochiral or heterochiral. For homochiral interactions, the Hall attracts the electron of the opposite spin, which is stronger and more stable than the case of heterochiral interactions, where the Hall attracts the electron of the same spin. So this gave us some enlightenments. In our experiment, coils create spiral vector potential, and the capacitor creates electro potential. Through electromagnetic and spin AB effect, the ferrite can be polarized, and maybe it can select the unidentified elements with certain spin. Then these elements can be wound into water, and its spin and wave function can be further polarized by spiral vector potential and electric potentials. The polarized elements may interact or resonate with water. Considering the plausible helix structure of EZ, chiral-induced spin selectivity may also play a role during the formation of EZ. And homochiral interactions with singlet spins may play an important role in the growth of EZ. At present, it is impossible to say whether these conjectures are true. At least, they seem to be able to explain what we have observed, or even information imprint effect, and are potential directions worthy of study. Because the proton in hydrogen has a half nuclear spin, a pair of protons can be also in singlet or triplet status, while the deuterium has a nuclear spin of 1. Some scholars predicted that there will be no EZ in heavy water, so we tried the heavy water. We found that in the night, it is very difficult to implement EZ, but in the noon, EZ can be implemented. However, usually only can be maintained for about 30 to 40 minutes. But this is not enough for us to test the effect of magnetic rotator. In future, the AB effect on EZ can be studied together with the information issues. And the effect of magnetic rotator can be also examined by other measurements, such as EIS, photonymic, and spintronics methods. These are my co-workers. Spielman told us the principles of the generators. He made us realize that there is nothing more fantastic than reality. The delicacy of the generator is beyond our imagination. Wenxing is a doctor, studied plant and radicals. Now he is an associate professor at SUST in Shenzhen. He recommended Pollack's book to me and helped us to do chemical experiments. Zhou and He both are my graduate students. They did the experiments. If you are interested with these topics, you are welcome to contact me. Thank you.